France will replace the American platforms Microsoft Teams and Zoom with its own domestically developed video conferencing platform. The new French-made video conference tool, called Visio, will be used in all government departments by 2027. The move is part of France's strategy to stop using foreign software vendors, especially those from the United States, and regain control over critical digital infrastructure. It comes at a crucial moment as France, like Europe, reaches a turning point regarding digital sovereignty. The French government said that switching to Visio could cut licensing costs and save as much as €1 million per year for every 100,000 users. The move also comes as Europe has questioned its over-reliance on US information technology infrastructure.
France to ditch US platforms Microsoft Teams, Zoom for sovereign platform, citing security concerns. France to ditch US platforms Microsoft Teams, Zoom for sovereign platform, citing security concerns. France announced that it will roll out the Visio platform across all government departments by 2027. France will replace the American platforms Microsoft Teams and Zoom with its own domestically developed video conferencing platform, which will be used in all government departments by 2027, the country announced on Monday. On Monday, the government announced it will be instead using the French-made video conference platform Visio. The platform has been testing for a year and has around 40,000 users. Visio is part of France's Suite Numérique plan, a digital ecosystem of sovereign tools designed to replace the US online services such as Gmail and Slack. The platform also has an artificial intelligence-powered meeting transcript and speaker diarization feature, using the technology of the French startup PioNote. Visio is also hosted on the French company's Outscale Sovereign Cloud Infrastructure, which is a subsidiary of French software companies Dassault Systems. The French government said that switching to Visio could cut licensing costs and save as much as €1 million per year for every 100,000 users. The move also comes as Europe has questioned its over-reliance on US information technology IT infrastructure following cloud outages last year. This strategy highlights France's commitment to digital sovereignty amid rising geopolitical tensions and fears of foreign surveillance or service disruptions, Amiel said. If you go to builtwithdjango.com, Visio, open source alternative to Google Meet and Zoom, powered by LiveKit, HD video calls, screen sharing and chat features. This project is an open source alternative to popular video conferencing tools like Google Meet and Zoom. It's built using Django, React and LiveKit, offering features such as HD video calls, screen sharing and chat. The target audience includes European public servants who need a secure and compliant video conferencing solution. It also targets organizations and individuals seeking a self-hosting, open-source alternative to mainstream video conferencing platforms with a focus on privacy and control. Key features: optimized for stability in large meetings, 100 people plus, support for multiple screen sharing streams, non-persistent secure chat, end-to-end encryption. And then they have a cloud-hosted version. I have no financial association with them at all. I don't know if it works. But here is the source code in the Suite Numérique team, and this is Meet. La Suite Meet. La Suite Meet, is that like pancreas? Simple video conferencing. La Suite Meet is easy to install on your own servers. We use Kubernetes for our production instance, but also support Docker Compose. We're relentlessly focused on building the best open source video conferencing product, La Suite Meet. Lots of contributors. We're using the awesome LiveKit implementation. We're also thankful to the teams behind Django REST Framework, Vite.js and React Aria. Thanks for your amazing work. This project is tested with the browser stack. Dig into the source. So backend has a PyProject.toml, manage.py. So it's basically a Django app. The point is, you don't have to be French to use this. Anybody can use this. You can just download it and install it on your own system. So if you're another country or you're another company and you want your own secure private communications, not controlled by Microsoft, then you can install this. And if you have a large organization, it'll probably be much cheaper to install this than to buy the Microsoft options. Under Mitt Romney, he was the governor of the state of Massachusetts, and he tried to save money by getting rid of buying Windows licenses and to use OpenOffice instead. You know, Microsoft came down on it like a ton of bricks and a ton of lobbying and a ton of bribes, probably. And eventually, you know, as when Mitt Romney moved on to fail to become president, Massachusetts just gave up and went back to Microsoft. And there was a similar thing in Munich as well, where the city of Munich tried to save money of not having Windows licenses by moving all their PCs to Linux and LibreOffice. I think it was especially one time where you had to upgrade all your machines to use the latest version of Windows, and Linux, not Windows. Well, Munich is shifting back from Microsoft to open source again. In 2003, Microsoft decided to end support for Windows NT 4.0 that the Munich was using, and so the Munich decided to move to Linux. and Microsoft came down like a ton of bricks again with literally bricks. It built like an office in Munich to try and like sway the Munich government. It built like a regional office or something in Munich. Linux was a project launched by the city of Munich in 2004 to replace the software on its desk computers, migrating from Microsoft Windows to free software based on Linux. By 2012, the city had migrated 12,600 of its 15,500 desktops to Linux. But then, a lot of hanky-panky going on, and changes in political administration. They resolved to go back to Windows in 2017. So the IT department of Munich saved more than $13 million by using Linux for free instead of buying Windows. But then Microsoft announced it was going to move its German headquarters to Munich. So then Munich Council responded by reverting to Windows 10, with council members insinuating that the reversal was a politically motivated decision by Mayor Dieter Reiter. Reiter denied that he had initiated the reversal in gratitude for Microsoft moving its German headquarters from Unterschleißhelm to Munich. The merry-go-round turns again, and the 2020 administration, formed by Green Party and Social Democrats, decided we're going to go back to open source software. And in 2024, the city government doubled down on the decision by implementing a 5-point open source plan. 200,000 euros have been allocated for positions and blah, blah, blah. In Massachusetts, under Mitt Romney, who nobody accused of being a lefty, the Green Party and the Social Democrats of Munich, who nobody can accuse of being capitalists, both decided it was best for their cities and states to use something they've got complete control over. But in both cases, projects were marred by the very short timeline of politics. You have to train everyone to use the systems and so on. Political timelines are to the next election or the next politician I'm going to get. Both the lefties and the righties, they have part of the truth, but not the whole truth. The right-wing people are right in that capitalism does produce great innovation. The lefties are right that this can ossify and become monopoly. I mean, the government is the biggest monopoly, and when the government adopts proprietary systems and imposes them on everyone, then your citizens, you're kind of forced to use these proprietary systems. So the government is really the worst part of it, really, when the government and these big old corporations get together. Capitalism is extraordinarily good at producing technological breakthroughs. It can apply capital, it tolerates risk, it can move fast, you can try out different things. But then once a breakthrough succeeds and a winner happens, something predictable happens. Kind of network effects kick in, switching costs rise, lobby increases, revolving doors appear between these large corporations and the state, and standards become strategic weapons. So desktop operating systems like DOS and different operating systems emerging, and then Microsoft emerges as the winner with their Windows system, and then become lobbyists. It becomes part of government, revolves revolving door. They give jobs to ex-government employees. Different competition between different like word processing and spreadsheet providers, and Microsoft wins that one as well, becomes built into institutions and businesses. And then you have email and web systems, all this innovation, and then Microsoft comes late again but wins and ties everyone up, and you end up with every company having to have Outlook, every company having to have Windows services. You have a lot of innovation, and then you have this monopoly, and then the monopoly works with the government to kind of enforce these are the standards, these are the acceptable things. It's acceptable to have an Nobody got fired for installing Outlook. Nobody got fired for installing Office 365. It becomes the standard. It's then ossified and trapped, and then they can increase the prices and they get monopoly rent and so on. And the solution for this is open source. So what open source does, it then comes along and creates a canonical implementation. That implementation is then free for everyone to peer review, free for everyone to use, free for everyone to build upon, and then that becomes a new layer that new innovation comes along. So it's very important that open source is allowed to break up the monopolies. It's very important that the government doesn't become part of the system, keeping the kind of ossifying monopolies going. The government should be encouraging innovation. The government should be encouraging open source, because once open source comes along and creates an open source version that's free for everyone to use, and it's secure and it's peer reviewed, then new innovation, companies can come along with new innovation and create new products. It's not like Bill Gates was short of money. If the government broke up Microsoft or the government supported open alternatives, it's not like Bill Gates is going to be starving in the street, is it? So open source basically stabilizes the layer for the next level of innovation. And if you don't have open source, you don't get the next level of innovation. You just get stuck with these ossifying companies. So we've got to stop this lobbying. We're just got to stop these revolving doors. We've got to watch out for what procurement relationships between, these huge corporations and the government. Staff being trained on proprietary stacks. That's no good. It has been very difficult to get politicians on board. It's been very difficult to get politicians to understand this stuff. Politicians don't really understand the source of innovation. They don't really understand progress. They don't really understand the history of technology. But perhaps this digital sovereignty thing is an interesting lever. Massachusetts was trying to save money under Mitt Romney, and then the Munich project was trying to get off the forced upgrade path and, trying not to throw away perfectly good hardware just to install the next version of Windows. France's approach may be something more permanent, maybe something more, something that politicians can understand. What does open source do for them? Well, it gives them more power as opposed to being told what to do by the big corporations. It's not really important that it's French. It's important that it's open source. It's important that it's transparent platform that others can extend, audit, depend on, build on. So it's not really about geography. It's about replaceability. Can you fork it? Can you recompile it? Can you rehost it? Can you audit it? Can you peer review it? Can you get a new supplier to help you if the old supplier goes bust or the old supplier gets greedy? Can you train local people to run it and to adapt it to be more appropriate for your use case? The important thing is not France versus America. It's open versus closed. It's innovative versus ossifying. So we don't need corporate monopolies and we don't need forced nationalization or anything. What we need is open source. What we need is peer-reviewed software that when we have companies come in, they create the innovation, they take the risks, and they take the profit and they get the reward. But once the solution is known, once the problem domain is known, then we can have the canonical open source implementation of it. The successful tech companies, everybody's already rich, everybody's already on the yachts. You don't need the MBAs who take it over to build some kind of ossified monopoly which works with the government in a kind of corrupt fashion to fix it so that they take monopoly rent forever. No, the companies get innovation, they make the profit, they reap the reward, they buy the yachts, and then the open source solution comes along, levels the ground and makes a foundation for the next level of innovation, the next level of companies coming. Governments should be looking for this cycle, a forest regrowing, this circle of life. It's not that you have we want a national champion. Microsoft's not a French company, so we want to make a French company that's bigger than Microsoft. No, it's not about that. That's not the important thing. The important thing is that we allow innovation, we allow technological progress, we allow experimentation, we allow innovation. We don't want lock-in. But anyway, that's what I think. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Subscribe, like, share, all the things.